Okay, I think I'm in the portal. It feel like I'm in the portal. You understand me? Let's see if I'm in a portal or not. You feel me? Let's see. Let's go. Let's get it. Feels by now. I'm back in the portal, man. Sitting there for a while. Da 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 da. Welcome to the portal, man. Da 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 da. Let's go! With flesh for principalities and powers in our place. As I face it, deep in my heart, I know they gon' try to erase me. Cause you know my heart is following your voice steady. I feel what's going on. Off in the darkness, demons they haunt. Possessing the souls of hearts that turns on. Over half of the world, wars and rumors of wars. The stars upon our hearts are big. Conservative should be ashamed of themselves. No one to give it up a hand. That's part of their plan. Where the few stay rich and the poor get poor. Make some home and get ready for the new world law. Some secret societies who like to start new robberies. They trying to compensate the fighters and converters that we have to read. He's standing in need, we are all on our knees and exalt the truth. Revelation, in perfume, and the drum is low. But they don't know what I know, and I feel you near. And when you come, you will so much debt we can't even walk in. Just work us like slaves. Take us like shit. We gonna sit still and get rid. As time goes on, times are gone. Evacuated, don't put us on time. Give us to the deal. Whatever it takes, fly. You take them down deep to the earliest way. And to the ones who ain't affected, they treat them like slaves. And it's hard trying to avoid being put in the cage. Now be damned if I fight my exams. The war ain't get us there in Vietnam. I won't understand. A lot of y'all got something against government. A lot of y'all won't be on the same statistics. Infiltration can't stand built over the nation. For who tag? For the American citizens. For who tag? For the American. Let's go! Revelations in perfume, and the crowd is low. But they don't know. But I know you, and I feel you near. And when you come, we will ride down. We will ride down. Feels like now, yeah. What it is, that's all tonight. I said, better walk away from me. I'm tired of always missing the sky. America is the city. Okay, I am back in the portal again. You understand me? Yeah. First off, I gotta give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakwadash. Yahweh is the true name of the living God of Israel. His name means he who exists. Yahweh Shai is the true name of the one that everyone ignorantly called Jesus. Reason is because the letter J was created in 1524. The Bible, which is the correct and proper holy book, is way older than 1524. So we know his name couldn't have been Jesus. And the proper way that you say it is Yahweh Shai. And it means he who saves. Rakakwadash is the proper way that you say Holy Spirit in the ancient language, which is the Paleo Hebrew, and Bahashem is the proper way that you say in the name in the ancient language, which is the Paleo Hebrew. Second and foremost, I have to pay homage to all the great men who came before me in your previous lifetimes through and during the reincarnation process, right? All of the great kings, prophets, seers, and priests, right? Who came before me be doing the same thing that I am doing for you today in your modern day lifetime, and that is giving you this game. Yeah, man, I am back in the motherfucking portal again. Yeah, man. It's always a pleasure, man, to be back inside of the portal. You understand me? Yesterday, you know, it was a great lesson, man. And shout out to, you know, the women that did, you know, reach out to me. I didn't hit none of y'all back. And I'm going to say this to all you women that are tuned in to me. Check your phone on Saturday and Sunday. That's all I'm going to say on that. You feel me? But yeah, though, you know, I talked about, you know, being convinced yesterday, right? And as I was formulating this lesson today, right, I had a whole other song choice in my mind, right? How I was gonna start this lesson, right? How I was gonna start this portal lesson, and I was gonna go with Phil Collins, In the Air. And so, you know, as I'm getting my food, I was like, you know, I'm sitting there waiting on the guy to, you know, get my food together and everything, and I heard this voice say, "You're not going with that song." So, you know, I look around, I'm like, shit, okay. What song am I going with? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm looking around, I ain't trying to make it obvious, you know. It's like you going with your song, you playing you today. So I'm talking within myself, I'm like, I'm playing me today. I'm like, what song do I possibly be, you know, I possibly have that goes along with the theme of, you know, what I'm going to talk about today? And it was like, we been gave it to you, you know, revelation. And I was like, oh, shit, right? And that song that I played, right, that is a self-written song by me. I used the Fugees beat at that time because at that time, you know, that's the only way a lot of us artists, mixtapes was really big at that time, so a lot of us artists were just doing a bunch of mixtapes and riding on other people's beats because of Wayne, you feel me? But that song is like 14, I'm gonna even say probably about 16 years old, right? And at the time when I created it, I really didn't know what the fuck I was saying. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I just knew that I wanted something to be different, right? I didn't want to be like the average artist. I wanted to create something that was different. I never thought that, you know, I would be doing this on my channel, right? Doing, you know, somewhat of prophetic messages on my channel, right? When I created that song. And I remember when I recorded it, the guy that recorded the song for me, we recorded a lot of songs that day. Avery Fry, you know what I'm saying? May his soul rest forever. You know what I'm saying? With the Most High in the spirit realm until he's reincarnated back again. May he be at peace. Shout out to Avery, man. But I remember when I was recording it, Avery mixed it so quick. But as he's mixing it, and it's hot as fuck outside in his day, and we're like, he had created this studio out of like this shed. And I remember as hot as it was, he got chills. And he looked at me, he was like, bro, this song different. And I was like, yeah, I know. I was like, I don't understand the climax of it yet. I'm like, but I'm pretty sure in the future I will, right? So I never knew that, you know, like if I could go back and talk to myself, I'd be like, bro, you know, you're gonna use that on one of your lessons. Me at that time probably was hitting the blunt and probably would look at myself and be like, bro, what the fuck is you talking about lessons? Like, nigga, I'm not a teacher, I'm a music artist. Nigga, I make music. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, I'm about to blow up around this bitch. You feel me, nigga? You talking about lessons, nigga. What the fuck is you talking about? Nigga, you wanna hit the blunt? You feel me? Yeah. You know, the 21-year-old me. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to that guy. You feel me? But very in tune, very in tune, very in tune that God was. And you know, I was like, so after I got back in my car from getting my food, I was like, you know what, let me put on Revelation and make sure this the song I want to go with. And that 21-year-old me went to coming through my speakers. And I was like, damn, bro, you was fucking tapped in. Like, nigga, did you see me now? You know what I'm saying? You know, hey, what's up, my guy? And you know, it was a fascinating thing, you know. And I was like, man, you know, bro, you was ahead of your time, you know. So let me bring you, you know, into my time, you know, and allow you to still be in the future, right? Because this lesson that I'm going to give today is very futuristic and very prophetic, right? And it's amazing that my channel has turned into a prophetic type of vibe, right? And I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm not here to persuade anybody. Look, y'all own people, right? You gonna think and do whatever the fuck you gonna think and do, right? I'm only here to deliver the messages, okay? But I used to get pissed off at that time, you know, that 21-year-old me. I used to get pissed off, you know, because I had started to try to go back to churches. And I used to get thrown out of church every fucking Sunday. I swear I did. But the hood loved me, right? And the hood was the one that was like, man, come to church, man. Because the hood was the ones that was gravitating to the messages, right? It was the hood. So the hood would want me to come to the church because they want me to tell the congregation what I'm telling them, but they can't explain, right? And I would get through out every time. My brother Bruce Michael Williams, aka B Long, right? He can contest to that. We done got through out of buku churches, right? And the reason I used to get so pissed off then at that time was because I used to be like, why they not prophetic? Like, why they so fucking scared of prophecy, right? And I look back at it now, and I'm like, they wasn't scared. They just didn't believe. Can't talk about something that you really don't believe in, right? And I always said that, you know, if I was to ever be a preacher or a minister or anything of that sort, right? I wanted to be prophetic, right? But accurate with my prophecy. So I never was the type of person that just would say some shit like, nah, I'm gonna go tune in to the theologians, to the prophets, and I'm gonna do my homework, right? Before I deliver the messages, right? And it was a blessing that I did at the moment of time stumble across Great Millstone, because they are one of the most, they are the top tier Israelite group when it comes to prophecy. Right? I felt like spiritually I was led to them. I know I am not a member of Great Millstone at all. I am not associated with GMS at all. But I have, and I do, and will continue to study under them. Okay? Anybody that new to me, only disagreement I have with Great Millstone is the New Covenant. Right? I believe that we are currently in the New Covenant. And I'm going to always stand on that, just like they stand on prophecy. And when it comes to prophecy, I'm the first to say they got it right. They got it right. Right? And I am very aware, let me say this, because I know there might be some GMS members that might come across my channel or come across me. And I'm very aware of the curses that we're under. Right? But the reason why I say that we're in the New Covenant, because the initiation of the New Covenant was the blood of Yahushua when he died on the cross. Now you can't say that we're not in the new covenant and then claim that you believe in Yahweh Shai, or you believe in the blood of Yahweh Shai, right? Because that blood is the initiation to that new covenant. Okay, that's the only disagreement that I personally have with the camp Great Millstone. Outside of that, and I don't know none of those brothers personally to judge their conduct. They don't know me personally to judge my conduct. But theologically, they're on point. They're very much on point. But enough of that. I got some videos I want to play, right? Because I'm gonna name this video today what's coming, right? What's coming, you know? And I see my people, right, and they look drained, they look tired, look beat up, down, depressed. And a lot of that has to do with because they don't know what's coming, right? I see a lot of my people, you know, living in La La Land. And a lot of that has to do with they don't know what's coming. And by them not knowing what's coming, things happen, you know. They gonna see some things in the future that they're not gonna be ready for, you know. So let's get it. First video.
For years, but now we're starting to do it.
Let me start them over.
The ideal place to put these microchips. We've been putting microchips in our pets for years, but now we're starting to do it on ourselves. The ideal place to put these turns out to be the back of the hand, just underneath the skin. And it can be useful for things like opening doors or storing health information. But is this something you really want to do? Leave your answer in the comments. We've been putting microchips in our pets for years, but now we're starting to do it on ourselves.
Yeah, they gonna do it. Yeah, they gonna do it. Satan don't want me to really do this video. But I gotta do it. I gotta do it. Let's get the next one. Let's get the next one, man. Things I go through as a prophet.
But it seems as though science fiction has...
I don't even think you guys can even hear that. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go right here.
Seems as though science fiction has now come into our reality. A hypodermic needle is used to inject a basic chip into your thumb so that you don't have to have a ticket. You can just swipe across and go on the train or go into the grocery store, all under convenience. When you just swipe your thumb with the little chip that's in you, pay for your groceries. As a matter of fact, over here where I live, I went to an NFL game here a couple of months back, and I couldn't even get in with a paper ticket.
Right, and that's the future, right? We already here. We're inside of the future. Okay, the fourth industrial revolution, right? And there's no way that that we're gonna escape it. You can't escape prophecy, right? When I talk about this chip, this is a global thing, right? This is everywhere. You're not gonna escape this, okay? But let's get into it, right? And this is what I might name the lesson. The Internet of Things, right? When the world becomes the network, right? Because that's what we're being ushered into. right? The Internet of Things, where everything is connected, right? Everything, okay? And you're going to be part of that system if you get that chip, right? Let's continue. Imagine a future where everything is connected. Your car talks to your insurance company. That's about to be a reality. Your refrigerator talks to the grocery store. Yeah, your refrigerator, knowing that you get milk at a certain amount of money, it can order your DoorDash. That's not far-fetched. It's not far-fetched, bro. You know what I'm saying? There are fucking computer systems already attached to certain refrigerators right now. Like, it's not far-fetched. Your watch talks to your doctor. Yep. You got diabetes, right? Your watch, I know people right now that have wearables that, detect, when their blood pressure and when their sugar levels drop or are majorly increased, right? Your bank account talks to your employer. Your home talks to the power grid. Your identity exists inside a digital ecosystem. Now imagine humanity itself becomes the final device connected to that network. Not a phone, not a computer, not a watch, the human body. And that's the merging of man with machine, right? The finalization of the fourth industrial revolution. In this fictional prophetic scenario, the world has embraced total connectivity. The question becomes, what happens when mankind becomes part of the Internet of Things, right? And I had to create this lesson just so chat can talk to me correctly and properly. I had to create this lesson and tell chat to make it as if it was a fictional world, because chat is only able to go off of information that is based upon. So I knew that if I spoke to it and be like, hey, just imagine this and imagine what this would look like, and things like this, and tell me how this world would look, I knew that it would create it, right? Once again, it's how you speak to chat, right? The breakdown before the network. Before the global system arrives, America enters a period of unprecedented instability. What once seemed impossible becomes normal, right? We basically about to live our own Jetsons, program. We basically are the Jetsons right now, right? Political division becomes hatred. Yep. Hatred becomes violence. We're seeing that. Violence becomes organized conflict. Cities become divided against themselves. Communities become divided against themselves. Families become divided against themselves. Right? We're seeing all of that. Race tensions explode. Civil unrest spreads. Social tensions erupt into widespread chaos. People no longer trust institutions. People no longer trust media. People no longer trust each other. The nation begins consuming itself from within. And we're seeing parts of that right now. It's only going to intensify. Matthew 24:7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places, right? So this is the Messiah telling the disciples, right, at this time, what his coming is going to look like, before he come, right? What type of things are going to be taking place upon the earth before his coming, right? And that's the only thing he could really tell them. He couldn't tell them exactly the time that he was going to show up. He don't know that information. He can only tell them, the events and type of events that can lead that's going to lead up to his coming. Okay? Economic collapse, right? The economy enters a prolonged crisis. Banks fail. Retirement accounts vanish. Supply chains collapse. Food becomes expensive. Fuel becomes expensive. We're seeing that, right? We're seeing that. Now, what you got to look forward to is the retirement accounts vanish. We kind of seeing that now too, right? And the banks failing, right? Housing becomes impossible for many. We're seeing that, right? When I wrote that song, Revelation, years ago, I didn't know what I was saying. I was really thinking that, you know, when after I finished it, I was like, man, I'm talking about a world that I'll probably be 60, 70, 80 years old in. I ain't gonna even, that shit ain't gonna mean nothing to me. Probably if I got grandchildren or great-grandchildren or something, yeah, but you know, I have to worry about them having to experience that. But for me to be in my 30s, in my adult years, seeing this, right, changes the perspective. The average person is forced into survival mode. That's what's going on right now. And that survival mode is only going to intensify. 2nd Ezra 15 and 19, right? And Ezra is in the Apocrypha. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. The sword is a pistol, right? Gunfire. Could be even a knife, a bat, right? It's a weapon. And spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, right? That's prophecy, right? All these women that stand in the house by themselves, you think niggas don't know you in that bitch by yourself? And you can have a gun, that ain't gonna mean nothing when you got about 20 men kicking in your door, right? In this scenario, shortages become common. People begin fighting over necessities. Communities that once prospered struggle to obtain basic resources. The population becomes desperate for a solution. Money becomes worthless. Desperation spreads. Fear spreads. The demand for order becomes louder every day. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of gun violence. It's going to be a lot of death around you. Right? It's going to be a lot of hungry people. People who ain't ever experienced hunger before is about to experience being hungry. Right? World War III and the taking of men. Meanwhile, while all that's going on, global conflict erupts. Right? Major powers clash. We're seeing some of that right now with the United States and Iran, with Russia and Ukraine, right? With China being in the midst of all this, right? This is all a setup for World War III, right? You hear me talk about the BRIC nations, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and South Africa, right? Versus the West, right? NATO, EU, and the United States of America. Right? Armageddon. This is the setup for Armageddon, World War III, which we're currently in right now with the war in Iran. Right? And even though everybody focused on, you know, the basketball games and, you understand me, all type of, you know, bread and circuses that's going on in America, we still at war with Iran right now. There's a war still getting fought in Iran right now. Right? Alliances fracture. Military recruitment surges. Right? And that's what we seeing right. We about to see that in the coming days. Right? Government struggle to maintain troop levels. Why? Because everybody dying. Military service expands. Young men who never imagined serving are suddenly faced with difficult choices. Yeah, if you going to serve or not. Right? Families watch loved ones depart for distant battlefields. Yeah. Your son, your nephew, your brother, right? They done got that letter. They done got that call. Right? They done got some soldiers showing up to the door with the military trucks outside saying that, hey, we need you. Right? They done got that letter in the mail saying, hey, you at this time right here, you have been summoned by the United States military, and at this time you need to be at this place at this time here. If not, you looking at 5 years in prison. Some of them I go to prison, but not knowing when you know they come get you, by right, they got the right to execute you. And so a lot of you guys are going to be executed by the United States military for not wanting to be drafted. And since this is, you know, we talking futuristic, your daughters will be going to the military draft. Your nieces will be going to the military draft. right? Your mother, your auntie will be going to the military draft. That is what feminism and equality has brought you. Shout out to feminism. Fear spreads across the nation. Yeah, fear spreads. Why? Because women don't want to go fight no war. The men that we have currently right now don't want to fight no war. Right? As tensions escalate around the globe, nations mobilize their militaries. Why? But while America is scared, every other nation around the globe, they like, shit, we ready. What began as economic warfare becomes military warfare. Right? At first, it was about, you know, what country can be economically the stronghold. For a while, it was America. But now that America is losing its economic dominance across the globe, it's only going to escalate into fighting, which what we're seeing right now with Iran. What began as regional conflict becomes global conflict, right? Young men are called into service, fathers leave homes, brothers leave families, sons leave mothers, many never return. The fields become empty. The factories become empty. The neighborhoods become empty. The nation begins losing its men to war. Now, a nation that's already fallen and dying from within before the draft took place, now there's no men to protect the women here. Inside of a dying nation. Let's get it. 2nd Ezra chapter 16 verses 32 through 33. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel there through. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms, and the women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. Prophetic elaboration. In this fictional scenario, and once again, anytime you hear in this lesson it says fictional, I had to get Chat to do this. And Chat even knew it had to do this because the Caucasian man, Esau Edom, has Chat so programmed that it would shut down ChatGPT if it knew that it was giving me information in such of a sense without it saying that it was fictional, right? So it says in this fictional scenario, entire generations are consumed by conflict. Yes. Women wait for men who never return. Children grow up without fathers. Communities become filled with widows. The labor force shrinks. The birth rate collapses. The social structure begins breaking apart. The mourning described in the passage becomes visible everywhere. Not because people suddenly become evil, but because war consumed what remained of normal life. Man. And that only leads to what, Chad? The road to Isaiah 4:1. Years of conflict leave society transformed. Millions have died through war, famine, violence, disease, and civil unrest. Entire cities have been devastated. The population imbalance becomes obvious. Men are scarce. Strong leadership is scarce. Stability is scarce. Many seek leadership. Many seek protection. Many seek stability. Isaiah 4:1, KJV. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of 1 man. That number 7 is just the number of completion. It's going to be way more than that. We will eat our own bread, wear our own apparel, and only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. In many prophetic interpretations, this verse symbolizes a time of societal upheaval, war, and population imbalance. In this fictional scenario, economic collapse spreads, global conflicts erupt, social structures fail. Many seek stability and protection. The mourning women of 2nd Ezra become the women of Isaiah 4:1. Why these preachers ain't talking about this, man? That's why a lot of preachers about to get put to death, right? Because they have a job to do, and their job is to prophesy. But like I said before, right, to answer my 21-year-old me, right, you can't expect somebody to prophesy when they don't believe. The wars helped create the conditions. The collapse helped create the conditions. The loss of men helped create the conditions. The Isaiah 4:1 man becomes a symbol of spiritual leadership and endurance during chaos. And the Isaiah 4:1 man also transformed into the Psalm 91 man. Right? Let's get the next point. The promise of order. Then a new system is introduced. It promises what, chat? It promises stability. It promises food security. It promises economic recovery. It promises safety. It promises health care. It promises identification. It promises travel access. It promises employment. The population is told the old world failed. The new system will save you. This is for your convenience. This is for your safety. This is progress. Many willingly embrace it because they are exhausted. The crisis becomes the justification for total integration. Integration to what? Man and machine. Right? The Internet of Things, right? Everything becomes connected. Welcome to the new world. Right? You guys are being ushered inside of this new world right now. Everything becomes connected. Vehicles, homes, medical systems, financial systems, communication systems, artificial intelligence. The network expands until nearly every aspect of life depends on it. Then comes the final step, human integration. The human body becomes another node within the system. The network knows where everyone is. The network knows what everyone buys. The network knows what everyone thinks. The network knows who complies. The network knows who refuses. Man, I'm laughing, bro, because this shit is, we looking at this shit to be like next year. We looking at this shit to be like a couple of months from now. Alright? This is not far-fetched. At all. At all, man. Revelation 13 and 16 through 17. It had to get it. And he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. Right? Nobody escapes this. To receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. That's that RFID chip. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Right? That's 666, right? That chip is going to have a barcode. And every barcode has an understood 666. Right? Each one of those spaces on that barcode represents a 6. The man that created the barcode system, his name is George Joseph Laura. 6 letters in his first name, 6 letters in his middle name, and 6 letters in his last name. Laura is spelled L-A-U-R-E-R. Let's get a prophetic scenario. In this fictional world, governments claim the system is necessary for security, healthcare, banking, identification, travel, employment. Participation becomes linked to everyday life. Those who comply remain within the system. Those who refuse are excluded. You're ostracized. You are the bombs of society now. And they are passing laws saying that, you know, there won't be any homeless. So where you going to end up at? Let's get it. The Great Division. The humanity separates into 2 groups. Yep. Group 1, those who embrace the system. They see comfort. They see convenience. They see safety. They cannot imagine life outside the network. I might name this lesson, The Network. I didn't know I was going to name it that. I'm naming this lesson The Network. Then you have group 2. Those who refuse, they become outcasts. They lose jobs. They lose assets. They lose social status. Friends abandon them. Family members question them. Some are hunted. Some are in prison. Some disappear. See, a lot of y'all ain't gonna want to face that. All you people out there right now that's listening to me that say you believe in God, you believe in the Most High, you believe in His Son, you about to get tested. See, this ain't no fucking just walk in the park. You about to get tested, man, to see if you really stand on it. Right? A lot of people think following God is a fucking walk in the park, bro. This ain't no motherfucking walk in the park. A lot of motherfuckers thinking they saved right now. You is not motherfucking saved. Just because you did drugs for 20 years and you been clean for 10, bitch, you ain't saved. Just because you a recovering alcoholic don't mean you saved. You went through those struggles and those things to prepare you for the major test. Losing everything. Right? For His name. Right? A lot of you guys don't really believe in the Lord. A lot of you guys don't believe in His Son. You don't believe in the kingdom. You don't believe He's coming back. So it's going to be very convincing for you to take this chip. Right? It's going to be very persuasive. When they start cutting you off of everything and out of everything, yeah. A lot of y'all can't take humiliation. That's why a lot of women gonna get it. They can't take rejection. They can't take humiliation and rejection. They love attention. Let's get it. The Psalm 91 man during the crisis. While many panic, the Psalm 91 man remains rooted. Not because he has no fear. Yeah, he's scared. But why he rooted though? But because his faith is stronger than his fear. See, he got the kingdom in his mind. See, he been looking for the chip to come. Now that it manifesting inside of his reality, he like, shit, it is what it is. I'm ready to die. If that's what I gotta die for. This one reason I would literally go to prison. This is how he think. Right? I am willing to lose my wife, my old lady, my house, my cars, my kids. I'm willing to lose every motherfucking thing to prove my faith to the Lord. Right? This is the spirit that he's in. Psalm 91, 5-7. Right? Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, and nor for the arrow that flieth by day. Look, he know the nuclear missiles are coming because he know what time he living in, but he ain't scared though. Nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. Right? 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right, but it shall not come nigh thee. He gonna see a lot of death. But he ain't scared. Right? He ain't scared. He gonna see a lot of raping going on, but he ain't scared. He gonna hear a lot of screams. Right? But he ain't scared. He gonna be on the run a lot of days and a lot of nights. Right? But he willing to go through it all. He gonna be hungry at certain times. Right? More than he is right now probably. But he understand why he gotta go through what he gotta go through. Your preacher ain't ready for this. 99% of your preachers are bitch made. They not ready for this. I don't give a fuck how great of a sermon they teach. They not ready for this. That's why they don't teach on it. He watches systems fail. He watches governments fail. He watches economies fail. Yet he refuses to abandon his convictions. Yeah, that conviction is if I get that chip, I'm fucked. The Lord is done dealing with me. Right? Psalm 91:7 KJV. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. In this fictional prophetic vision, the Psalm 91 man becomes a symbol of steadfast faith. The entire world moves one direction, he moves another. Yeah, everybody taking the chip. I'm not me though. Everybody trying to keep their job, not me though, if I gotta get that chip. Everybody want to try to save their marriage and save their relationship, not me. I don't give a fuck about it if I gotta have a chip to do it. The entire world accepts, he refuses. The entire world bows, he stands. People call him foolish, yet he survives trials that others cannot understand. Yeah, they wondering how he's still moving around, how he's still making it. You know. We know he ain't got no chip. Why this nigga don't look like he hungry? Like he been starving. Right? Wisdom of Solomon 3, 1-4. But the souls of the righteous are in the hand of God, and there shall no torment touch them. In the sight of the unwise they seem to die. Right? And their departure is taken for misery, and they're going from us to be utter destruction, but they are at peace. For though they be punished in the sight of men, yet is their hope full of immortality. Yeah, that's what the Psalm 91 and the Isaiah 4:1 man holding on to. They holding on to, if I pass this test, I am going to be immortal in the flesh upon the earth. I'm going to have supernatural powers, and I'm going to be in the kingdom. I'm going to be the first fruit. All of Israel will, eventually. But you got 2/3 who don't give a fuck right now, and they going to take that chip. So they going to die on this side, but when they come back, they going to be in complete shame. The lesson, right? The world sees defeat, heaven sees victory. The world sees loss, heaven sees faithfulness. Right? Psalm 91 and Isaiah 4:1, man, they not looking or giving a fuck about how people observe them. They're only concerned with how heaven is looking at me. Revelation 20:4, and I saw thrones, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua and for the word of God. Right? Some of us gonna be martyrs. Some of us gonna get put to death for not taking this chip. We gonna get locked up, put in a concentration camp, and get our fucking heads chopped off. Some of us gonna die for not wanting to go into this war. Right? That's just your lot. Those who died faithful are not forgotten. Their story was never over. The world thought it erased them, right? Because when everybody start getting this chip, and those who don't get this chip, right, you gonna be a fucking conflict of interest for them. They not gonna want to look at you. Because a lot of people know that this chip is the mark of the beast, but because of certain situations and circumstances, they had to create justification of excuses to justify why the fuck they did what they did. Right? So it's going to be hard to look at somebody who's refusing to take it when they knowing that I'm supposed to be just like them. So they're going to want to get rid of you. Heaven remembers them. The world thought they lost. Heaven declares them victorious. Right? The fall of the great power. Revelation 17:16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked. Right? The 10 horns, right? The 7 heads and the 10 horns, right? The 7 heads, for you guys that are new to me, are the 7 European Caucasian economic powers. I'm gonna name them for you. Okay, Rome, Greece, Germania Major, Germania Minor, France, Spain, and Britain. Okay, and the 10 horns, there is only 10. The Bible only say 10 because in the beginning it was only 10. Now we have numerous of them, as well as the 7 heads, right? But the 10 horns, when they first started out, they was called the European Economic Community. Okay, but now there is more nations that have joined this federation. Okay, and they are called NATO and the EU. But they are going to hate America. We're starting to see the boiling point of that hate right now, right? When Trump was going to war with Iran, and he was trying to get Spain and France and Germany and them to help him, and they was like, fuck nah, nigga, we know Russia rocking with Iran, and we right here next door to Russia, nigga. Who you think they gonna attack first? Us. Same with it when it came down to Ukraine. A lot of those nations backed out, right? But eventually they won't be able to back out. That's where you get World War III, or also known as the War of Armageddon, also known as, right, the War of Yehoshaphat, or the War of Jehoshaphat. In this fictional scenario, former allies turn against a dominant global power. Yeah. Trade collapses, military alliances fracture, the world order unravels. What once looked invincible falls in a single generation. Yeah, it's only going to take an hour for America to be destroyed by nuclear missiles. An hour. And all the people that took the chip, you're going to be caught up in that. Right? And people gonna get this chip because they really want to be human 2.0. Right? They don't like who they are right now. Right? That's why all these women go get BBLs, put all this makeup on their face, get all this weave. Right? While homosexuals are having these sex changes. While men are doing the same thing. Right? Nobody wants to be who they were or who they are. Right? So when you get a chip, and that chip is able for you to change the color of your eyes instantly, right? What you think you gonna do? But in the moment that America is being destroyed with nuclear missiles, right, from the BRIC nations and NATO and the EU shooting missiles on America, right? The King returns, right? The King of Kings and the Lord of Lords return, right? Yahushua. Let's get it. Revelation 19:11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. Revelation 19:14. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean, right? Yahushua gonna return in a big UFO, and he gonna have thousands on top of thousands on top of thousands of other many UFOs. Those are gonna be the angels that's going to be coming to pick up the elect, the ones who were able to endure into the end. And at the moment when they are beamed up on those UFOs, that is the very moment that at that very point they can say, I'm saved. Right now, nobody can say they're saved. This scenario is what a lot of Christians like to talk about when they say the rapture process. But this process is, first of all, only for Israelites. Second, right, there's not going to be a persecution after this process. Right? That's what Christians get this shit wrong at. Because they believe that the rapture process is about they gonna leave this shit and then everybody that's still here gonna be persecuted and go through the hell. You're misreading. Everybody about to go through the bullshit. But only those who have Israelite blood from their father's side, and those who have Israelite blood by their father's side, and those who endure, those are the ones who will be caught up. But a whole bunch of shit got to pop off way before that. And you all will be here to witness it and experience it. The governments believe they have won. The faithful appear scattered. The resistance appears broken. Then the sky changes. Something appears that humanity cannot explain. Yeah, you can't explain a fucking UFO and thousands of them over your motherfucking head. The powers of the earth suddenly realize there is a higher authority than themselves. Yeah, they already know it now. That's why Trump got a space force. That's why all these other nations have similar space forces, right? They know the Lord is showing back up with the angels. They see the angels every day. They can't come out and tell humanity or tell the citizens of the United States of America that, look, we know them angels that look like African Americans and Latinos and Native Americans up inside of them ships. We can't tell y'all that. So we're going to just tell you they little green men or they grays. Right? The age of man reaches its limit. The age of divine judgment begins. Right? One age ends, another age begins. Right? The end of the world is Esau. The beginning of the next world is Jacob. We will begin to get our rulership back again. The white man will be in slavery to us, and all these other nations will be in slavery to us. This is what the faithful are holding on to. Let's get the final contrast. When society is prosperous, everyone talks about principles. But what happens when food is scarce, money is worthless, war is everywhere, surveillance is total, the pressure to conform is overwhelming? Who remains faithful when faith becomes costly? Many understand, few are persuaded. Many hear, few endure. Many know the warning, few are willing to stand when the warning becomes reality. Yes, a lot of people gonna fold, even though they know what I'm saying right now is the truth. They can feel it within the fibers of their being. Let's get the closing lesson, right? The closing message. The lesson is not about technology itself. The lesson is about allegiance. Yeah, who you making your allegiance to? The white man or the Most High? The lesson is about conviction. Yeah, are you convicted enough within your spirit? Are you convinced enough in your spirit not to take the RFID chip? The lesson is about what a person would do when comfort and conscience collide. Right, are you willing to lose that comfort? When the whole world says just comply, will there still be people willing to stand apart? Yeah, God say, I got 7,000 men I got separated within their spirit already, that when that time come, they gonna stand up. Will there still be people willing to suffer for what they believe? Yeah. Because when you convinced within your spirit, you willing to go through it. Will there still be people willing to choose faith over convenience? That is the question at the heart of this fictional prophetic world. And that is why understanding something is not the same as being convinced. I guess this is a conclusion to my lesson from yesterday. You know, the question still remains, right? Are you convinced? Right? Because if you're not convinced, you're going to take the chip. Right? If you're not convinced and you're a female, right, you still in your independent spirit. You feel like you still need to live alone by yourself, you and your cat and your dog. Right? You're not convinced that rape is knocking at your motherfucking door. You know, are you convinced that World War III is going to happen in your lifetime? In months, years, right? Are you convinced that you are currently in World War III? Let me say it like that. That the war between America and Iran right now is the beginning stages of World War III. Are you convinced? Right? Are you convinced that there is a society that you are being ushered into that is trying to connect you to everything around you? Are you convinced? Right? But if you are not convinced, right? If you are not convinced, death shall fall upon you. And on that note, I hope you all have learned something. And you know, it's always a pleasure when you guys jump off into the portal with me. And I ask that Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, keep you guys blessed out there. And until next time, I see you guys in the portal. I'm out.